Welcome to Witch Hat Chats, and come on in and sit for our spell. We're sponsored by Evermoving We Rise, Moonlight Potions and Charms, and Saul Ravencraft, Wizard for Hire. I am your goddess host, Miss Flame, and our co-host, Saul Ravencraft, is somewhere around here. Where are you at, Saul?
Here I am. How are you today, Miss Flame?
I am here.
Well, that's a start.
That's about as good as you're going to get right now.
Beats laying in the box.
Well, it depends on what you're doing in the box, but
Just laying there.
okay. Okay. Oh, oh. So, hmm, it seems like the winds are giving people problems on all sides at the front. It's been cold where we're at. I
Right.
know it's been really chilly here. It's been under 20 degrees at times. And then I have no idea about you because you live in Texas. Um, it's a little bit warmer, but still, it's still underneath the 20s. It's like in the 30s. And I'm having to
Yeah,
keep
we've
my
been
heater on all night.
been hovering around the 30s. Yeah, a little warmer in the day, but not much.
Yeah. And I do want to put out a shout out to those people that are um, losing their homes out in the LA fires, and to the ones that are responding to them. I want to thank the first responders and everybody who is helping them. Thank you so much. I also want to thank all the people who are helping everyone else across the country, especially the ones that when we needed it for our blizzards and everything, it just seems like every time the weatherman says, "Hey, we're going to get it from Atlanta," that's when the bread goes missing, the milk goes missing, the eggs go missing, and the gas goes missing. So,
Right.
where everything goes missing, whether we get it or not, but we always get it when it comes from Atlanta. Guaranteed. Any other time, we never get it. But I do want to thank our first responders there. You ladies, gentlemen, and four-legged ones are doing an absolute wonderful job. It's a thankless job. And for those of you who are suffering from those results, um, we do have on our um, end credits, we do have some resources for you listed so you can be able to go and figure out how to be able to get those. Some help from
Mhm.
FEMA and some other different types of resources that I was able to find right quick. So that can be able to help you to quickly get started. I know what it's like to be in the middle of a disaster area and to pretty much lose everything and to be in the middle and lose all hope. But the one thing about it is don't lose all hope, because here's the thing. I know that there's things that you'll never be able to get back again, like you can't get back again photographs of your loved ones. That's one thing. or you won't be able to get back art crafts or stuff like that. But at least number one, you have your lives. That's one thing to be thankful for. And number two, you have community and you have each other. So rely on one another and just try to work out things together. And I know there's going to be pricks out there. So if you're going to try to be a prick, don't. All right.
Right.
Just don't.
Right.
Ah, all right. So what's our divination for today, Mr. Saul?
Well, the divination that I have here is appreciate yourself and honor your soul.
Oh, so since you're the one that has the Duck Dynasty bill beard, wise one, what does that mean?
Well, Bruce Lee said that you should not talk badly about yourself, even in joking, because your words have power and your body cannot tell the difference between your jokes and your truths, and it takes it all in. And when we talk about intention and manifestation, I mean that's the idea. What you send out is what surrounds you, what is attracted to you. So humility is one thing, but when you really say things that dishonor yourself, it's going to affect everything. And I'll admit that's one of the things that really drives me crazy right now on social media is there is a whole group of people that seem really geared toward sharing all of the worst of everything
Mm-hmm.
about what's going on with themselves. And it never seems to get better. Well, I wonder why that is. Uh, and honoring your soul. I mean, I have a vague understanding of that. Uh, I think that part of that gets into to really paying attention to what our higher selves give us, and not blowing that off, not second guessing all of that. Um, but I'm sure there's a lot more to everything than that. What do you have there?
Well, well, you know me, I always have something to say about something, right?
You
Well, first,
bet.
I always try to make a joke of everything because, as I tell people, there are actual true horrors in my life. True horrors that would make people literally shiver in their bones. So I look at things in a very, very much a different way than what a lot of people do. And today I was actually being interviewed for to get into this program that I want to take. And they were asking me a couple of questions. And when this was pulled out, appreciate yourself and honor your soul. I was kind of kind of laughing about that because a lot of people, number one, and and trust me, I have a hard time with this too at times because I grew up in a family where I was always put down. I was always told I was never good enough. I was never going to be this and this and that. And if I tried anything, my whole family went to great lengths to try to stop that. It was always one thing after another, and it just seemed like nothing was ever going to go through anything. Didn't matter what it was. So, when it comes to that, and in a way, when that comes over and over and over and over and over again, you have what is called your confidence. It hits the self confidence a lot and a lot harder. And so, as you were saying, words do have power. They have a lot of power on you. And a lot of times, you are a lot harder on yourself than what others are on you. And so, number one, I was telling my interviewer, I said, so if this person that's in your head, let's say it's your father, um, are you living? Are you your father? And that person said no. I said okay. I said, well, number two, are you living your father's life? And that person says no. I said, well, good. I said, well, number three is your father paying you rent? And um, that person said no. I said, well, then you got one, two, three. You got three reasons to evict that person out of your head right there.
Right.
Bingo. Because if that person is not you, and they don't walk into your shoes, they're not going to experience your experiences, they're not going to be feeling your feelings, they're not going to be paying your money, they're not going to go through your um religious, spiritual, whatever it is, if they're not going to be doing any of that, and they certainly are not paying you to put money or anything in the food or anything in the bank, hell no. No, 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 no. Get them out of your head now, right now. Um, and so I was kind of getting irritated with one of my siblings, and when I saw this, I just went to my center and I closed my eyes and I took a deep breath and I cleansed everything and I felt this white, gorgeous light coming through me. And then I let it out. And I saw Ganesh dancing and everything. And I saw Lakshmi. She was just wonderful and beautiful and everything. And then I opened up my eyes and I looked my brother in the eye and I said, fuck off. And there, that cleansed my soul for the day. So there's
Whatever
the
works
end
for you.
of All right. So, so let's go to our topic today, shall we?
You bet.
Hmm. It's called Road Witch, the witch on the road. So, Saul and I, we have both have experiences of being on the road, going from either festival to festival, show to show, or having to stay at one show. And Saul's experience and having to do a show after show after show, or having to actually, we both have had to do our own shows as we've done Manifestasia several times, and having to put one up, having to put one down, going through the whole 9 yards and everything like that. And I know I've heard people have said, "Oh, you guys go and you have so much fun." And look at Tom grinning. And while I do admit, there are times that yes, I do have fun. But for people who actually go and do the workshops, the vendors, the volunteers, the ones that put on this type of working, we don't have a whole lot of fun. We actually work. And we're going to be talking more about behind the scenes and what that's actually like. Um, and so, Saul, why don't you give us a couple of your experiences? What is it? What's the festival that you do every April?
Well, yeah, so March and April, I'm at Sherwood Forest Fair. It's a medieval fair, like a Renaissance fair. It's based around the Robin Hood legend. And I'm sort of off to the side of all that story. I do shows with Merlin the Wise, which is a family show, and then I get to do a couple of performances as Ravencraft, the royal occultist. The Merlin shows, I'm a puppeteer. I'm the man behind the owl, and I write and direct. And it's it's a family show, entertainment, right? My own show, it's still entertainment, right? But
Mhm.
it's really based on sort of my own perspective and my own things. Uh, we uh, uh, we go down the rabbit hole a little bit in that, and there's a lot of metaphor in there for deeper meanings and deeper ideas there, and people resonate with that. I never thought I could do that in this kind of environment, but by golly, it is working. Um, but anytime you're doing any sort of an event, I mean, even if you're just reading cards at a festival, at a metaphysical fair, um, you don't really get to go wander around
Okay.
and meet everybody and see all the things because you gotta be paying attention to your table. If the fair gets so slow that you have a chance to do that, that's not going to be a great day.
Right.
Because you need to be ready to interact with people. And so for me, typically, I'm planted right there in that seat all day long, and only take breaks when I absolutely have to. I don't have a lunch break. I, have some granola bars or something like that standing by so I can kind of munch on something. And that seems to be the only way to guarantee that someone will come to your table is to open up a little something to eat on. That's they immediately come up before you can take a bite. You have to just kind of quietly pretend like you weren't doing anything. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but you when you're creating the experience, you don't get to participate in the experience on the same way. Even if you're doing a presentation, just a talk, a little lecture, uh, and you're not even having to mess with slides or anything like that. You're being very raw, very organic about the whole thing. You have to make sure that you're there on time. You have to make sure that you're coordinated with everybody that's involved. You got to make sure that you're working seamlessly for the transitions that have to happen. You have to make sure that you're paying attention to your own time so you don't steal time from the person after you. You've got to deal with whatever kinds of weird logistics there are in that. You got to deal with whatever personalities are going on there. And so, no matter what you're doing, there's a lot of coordination, a lot of focus that you're doing to make sure everything goes correctly. While for each individual that you deal with, it's just easy breezy. You want to make them comfortable so they can get what they need from it. And you've seen people that don't do this well. You've seen people that let their trouble intrude on the experience. And if there are technical problems, they whine about it. If there were difficulties on getting things coordinated or getting things going for their talk, they got to talk about how, gosh, this place is a mess. I had so much trouble, but we're gonna do this anyway. And so you don't really get to relax in the same way. Now, recently I've gone to a few events, some of the like the Preserve Halloween Festival, where I didn't have to present. I didn't have to run a booth. I just went out there and I had my camera and I took pictures and I took notes and I fully participated, and I didn't have to worry about making anything happen. And that was very pleasant. It was nice not to have to be in charge of anything. Um, but what a lot of people who go to these things, and it's true with just the work in general, right? When you're just playing around with doing readings, when divination is just sort of a fun part of the practice, and you do readings for each other, then that's great. But when you flip that switch and you're now doing it uh, officially, professionally, uh, you gotta be right on there, and it doesn't matter how your day is going. It doesn't matter what trouble has been going on.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter if your car got towed earlier in the day and you can't do anything about it until the festival's over. Uh, none of that matters. You have to be ready. And of course, if you're in a situation where you're doing several things over and over, you got to have your method for grounding yourself out and for resetting. If you have someone where your interaction with them is kind of weird, and that happens, right? We end up with people that they're a little vampiric about things. They're not necessarily trying to solve a problem. They're just uh, and every once in a while I encounter someone that's really really out there, and it's jarring. It's very jarring to yourself. But you know what? The person in line behind them does not care,
Right.
and we gotta have whatever it is we do to let ourselves go. And at Sherwood, I'm bouncing back and forth between two stages, doing 5 shows in the day. And so I'm constantly changing costume and mode and that kind of thing. There was one where I had 3 different characters. It was the pirate sing along, and then Merlin, and then the royal occultist. And so I was bouncing between 3 different identities and 2 stages over, I think it was 6 shows at that time. And so I'm constantly preparing for the next thing. I'm constantly moving to the next thing. And so when someone wants to talk, I want to talk, and I try to talk, but I'm also going in my head, I got I have 23 minutes until I got to be someone else. And I gotta slam a bottle of water, and it's just this constant motion, and and at the end of the day, you're just beat. And sometimes you're in the mood to be social. Sometimes you just need everyone to fuck all the way off.
And with that, we're going to go and take a brief commercial break, and we'll be right back with Witch Chat Chats. Stay tuned. Anybody can tell you what is on a tarot or oracle card. What matters is seeing beyond what others may not be able to see and help the client to uncover what lies in the mist. What do readings from Moonlight Potions and Charms do? Wednesday, I did this ancestor reading, and it was an amazing reading. And it was a detailed reading. And I remember talking to this customer's ancestors, and it was so delightful. And he wanted some questions to be answered about the magic in his family because he didn't know. And his family was mostly like most of our families are. You know how everything is like hush hush when it comes to the magic in his family. And he wanted to know who can he actually talk to about the history of the magic in his family. And I was able to give him specifically who he can go to talk to about that. What particular deity he can actually go to be able to help him with this. And it was just an amazing reading, and talking to his ancestors They were such a delight, and they told me so much about this customer. It was just an absolutely wonderful, wonderful reading for him. And I was just so happy to be able to give him this wonderful reading. It's really amazing to be able to give people these readings, these products that's really going to help them, and be able to give back to the community, because this is what Moonlight Potions and Charms is about. We want to help you to embrace the power of your own magic. That is what we are all about. It's to help you to do that. Book now and allow our wonderful staff to take care of your spiritual reading needs. And there is so much more in our Wicked store to help you to embrace the power of your own magic. So come on in to Moonlight Potions and Charms at www.moonlightpotionscharms.com and discover the wicked things that ignite the magical passion in you. Have you heard? The King of the Crossroads, Papa Legba, has graciously opened the roads, paving the way for the Papa Legba Altar on the Go to be nominated as Outstanding Product of the Year in the 2024 Witchcraft and Occult Media Awards. Makes Papa Legba Altar on the Go stand out? Complete traveling altar kit. Everything you need for sacred space is right at your fingertips, all neatly arranged in a mystical painter's pail. And it's compact and convenient. A perfect, powerful temporary altar, whether you're a modern nomad, a military soul on the move, or a wanderlust-stricken traveler. It also has additional space for the personal touch. As customization is a key to your spiritual journey, the Papa Legba Altar on the Go leaves room for you to infuse your unique energy. Moonlight Potions and Charms and Papa Legba invites you to join the spellbinding spectacle at the 2024 Witchcraft and Occult Media Awards. Cast your vote for the Papa Legba on the Go as the Outstanding Product of the Year. Your support fuels the magic. Go to https://rb.gy/pc3f11 to cast your vote. Remember, your altar is not just a space, it's a step in your magical journey. Explore the depths of your inner self by visiting Moonlight Potions and Charms at mpcmagic.com. Be ready to embrace the power of your own magic. Have you wondered what spirituality is? Spirituality is limitless, as it does not contain any boundaries on beliefs or practices. Spirituality's most important component is personal experience and allows one to explore it freely. Evermoving We Rise is a spiritual moving tradition, as our name is our lifestyle, because we are persistently rising and moving forward. We realize that everyone's spiritual journey is extremely personal, but more easily traveled with reinforcement. We'll teach you to become friends with your shadow, emerge your authentic self, and give you time and space to develop your own spirituality. And when situations bump back, you'll have the entire community behind you, as we are a magical family who work to sustain each other. Discover the benefits of working within a society dedicated to helping you grow on your personal path. Visit us on our website, Linktree, or Facebook page and discover why we don't fit in the box.
And welcome back to Witch Hat Chats. I am Saul Ravencraft. I am here with Miss Flame. And believe it or not, doing this podcast is not as easy as it looks.
You really think so?
There's a lot that goes on here that people are not aware of, and it's
That's true.
interesting that uh, people see the kinds of things that we do, and we do take a lot of joy from it. I think that comes out
Yeah.
when we do things. People see that it's a joyful thing for us, but it's still work
Mm-hmm.
and intensity, and I think because you get a lot of joy out of it, you put a lot of energy into making sure that it goes as well as it possibly can. Um, I was watching a little thing on filmmaking and a technique for shooting film, and they used the show Castle. We were talking to crew members and people in Castle, and we got to see a little behind the scenes of them shooting one scene. And it there are so many steps that are gone through to shoot this one little scene. They block it. They decide where things are going to be so that the people who have to address that can see what's going to happen. The people that are going to be putting cameras and lights can see what's going on, and then um, they have to do some rehearsal so that they can make sure that there aren't any surprises in how the scene's going to go. And again, everybody's paying attention to what's going on there. And then the A team goes off to hair and makeup while the stand-ins, the B team comes in, and
Mm-hmm.
they hit the motions and the marks that they saw the actors do while the cinematographer is setting up the lighting and the dressing is going on. Then the director of photography comes in toward the end of the lighting to make sure that the lighting is going to work for everything that they're doing, that the camera movement is worked out and rehearsed, so that's going to go smoothly. And then the actors come back in and they do what's called a last looks, where they go through everything again now that we have the lighting and the camera movement set up. And they'll do kind of a last run through. And sometimes they'll shoot that just to get some extra practice in. And then they actually do the scene. And
Oh
then
yeah.
they move to the next version of it in the next shot. And that is the prescribed way to do this kind of thing so that you get good solid film. But that means that every single shot you saw had like 8 different phases to
Yeah. And I mean, that's just a shooting. Okay.
it.
That's
Yeah,
before you get to the shooting. Okay.
yeah. Yeah,
Here
the
I am.
director has
Sorry.
already done their due diligence to decide what that's going to be before they even walk onto the set. The actors have done their due diligence to be as prepared as they can be and to understand what's happening. This is all just the physical mechanism of getting that shot done. And for us, it's 45 seconds of video.
Yep. But see, the thing about it is, okay, so here's the thing. You guys never think about the producers, what they have to do. They're the
Right.
ones that are responsible to get the talent. They're the ones that have to go and find it, contact them, however they're contacted, and when they're contacted, remind them again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And if they have any little teeny tiny, oh, I want this and I want this or I want this, so I can be able to do A, B, and C, um, and negotiations and this and this and that. And it's like, really?
Well,
Hey, I've directed movie videos,
yeah.
music videos. I've done that kind of stuff before. I have gone through so much doing different types of directions, productions, going out and getting talents, going out, find the locations, going out and doing all of that. And and also being a speaker myself. Actually, I'd rather be the speaker. I'm gonna be honest with you there.
Right.
It's just so much easier. Except when they tell you that you have to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, or you have to get up, excuse me, 3 o'clock in the morning, so you can have to do a 7 o'clock in the morning class. And I'm like, uh, I said that I can't do classes before 9 o'clock in the morning for a reason. Um, because
And if you're going to go present at 7 in the morning, that room had better be full.
right, right, because my room is like, and I mean, my room was, pretty good full, but still, even me, I'm not a coffee drinker, people. I do not drink coffee. It was rare if I drank coffee. I remember there was a short period in my life when I was a third shift supervisor. Supervisor, what was it? Security supervisor. And I did drink coffee for a little while, but it had a shit ton of sugar and a shit ton of cream. And I was up all night with that thing, and I was in downtown Charlotte. And it was little old me with a flashlight about this big.
A friend of mine calls that baby coffee.
Right, right, right. So I mean, it was a
But no
long
matter
time.
what you're doing, whether you're presenting or working a table or doing playing music, there's some version of that kind of detail that goes on. And if you do those things, you have an idea of what's involved. But
Right,
if you don't do those things, you're completely ignorant of it because you just see the end product. You have no
right,
idea what that individual is putting into it. And after you do it for a while, some of the that stuff comes pretty ingrained, and your experience allows you to do it pretty efficiently, and apparently skip some of that stuff. But it's all going on in your head. It's
right,
all going on in your focus, and so you know, I guess if you're dealing with people at an event that you'd like to, gosh, this is my opportunity to connect with them deeply, try not to be offended if for some reason they're not fully receptive in that moment because there may be things that they have to deal with that you're not aware of, and if they act like they're pressed, it's not that they're messing with you. It's that there's complexity you're not aware of.
exactly, exactly. It's just like, okay, when you go on stage, a lot of people say, "Well, I want to be on stage." Do you know how hot it is to be on stage with all that light on you? I'm sure Saul, because you got all of those long sleeves on and everything, and you got all that hot energy from those lights and everything. And then
It's
when you
better now
perform,
with the LED lighting that's coming around.
yeah,
That heat is not quite what it used to be. Um, but yeah, no, there's a lot going on there.
and when you're trying to get a class up, and you're trying to get them all up and out and up and get that energy up, and especially if you have a class at 6 or 7 or 8 or anything that's before what they call pagan time, which is 10 o'clock in the morning. And trying to get them to get up, and let's get some energy in you, and let's get some that excitement in you before, because 9 times out of 10, if my audience is boring me, I'm going to fall asleep on them.
Yeah.
It's true. It's absolutely true, because I'm the type of person that when I teach a class, when I usually do most of my speeches, I do what is called an interaction, because it goes a lot quicker. It's a lot easier, and it seems like most people really do enjoy that. But there's some places in which most unfortunately most festivals only give you an hour, which I don't really kind of like. I rather wish they give you the hour and a half. And that way you can be able to have some time to be able to spend some time on questions instead of having, oh, let's hold everything to the end.
Right. Right. Well, and
But
there are other basics that aren't necessarily considered, like, is there a place for you to put your things? Is there
mm,
light? Can you be seen? I've been in situations where it was mostly set up for a projector, and so the place where
did they
you
have
were
electricity? There
was
you go.
dark, and you couldn't be seen very well. Can you be heard? uh, is there a microphone and someone who knows how the system works? I've had so many situations. I mean, fortunately, I'm a technical person. So if people don't understand how the projector works or how the audio works, and I can get access to the controls, I can usually figure it out. But there's a lot of situations where that stuff's all locked up. Nobody knows how it works. Nobody knows where the light switches are, and you have to know what to expect and know what to do about it. And I have situations where I've moved, I've rearranged where I'm going to be. I'm not going to stand up there next to the whiteboard. I'll go stand over here where there's light and people
Hmm.
can turn their chairs. uh, uh, yeah, those are the kinds of details that make the difference between a good presentation and an excellent presentation. And a good presenter is all over that stuff, which means that they're there early and they're working way
Right.
before it's time for them to do their thing.
Yep. Yep. So, and I mean, as the audience, you really need to give the energy to your speaker. Um, Make sure you ask them questions. Make sure you pay attention. Um, I know with me, a lot of times I'll sit there, I'll crack jokes, I'll stand up, I'll walk, I'll go walking back and forth, I'll sit down, I'll get up, I'll go back and forth. I try to interact with my audience. I'm one of those, I really like interacting with the audience. It's because I happen to be an absolutely excellent teacher. I like to be inside one on one. I'm just one of those type of people. And I enjoy doing what I do. It's not something that when it comes to speaking, most speakers enjoy what they're doing. Okay? It's very rare that you get one of those speakers that don't enjoy what they're doing. If you get one of those, um, just don't go to the next one. Okay? Um, but make sure that you understand that when you're there, it's their point of view, not yours. And that's what you're trying to learn. You're just trying to learn a different point of view. You're not trying to learn your point of view. You're trying to learn a different point of view. And you're just trying to cooperate. It's that for me, and we only got a few minutes here, Saul. So this year I am going to go back on the road and I will be doing just a few um, uh, pagan festivals. Um, I can't announce them quite yet because I've been told not to. That's one thing. But also, mostly I will be doing other types of talking and on stages. So, the ones that I'll be able to go to, I will be announcing them as we come along on those things. I know that Saul is always doing Sherwood every March and April. Is that right? The weekends?
Yeah, it'll be the weekends, starting the first weekend of March and going to almost the end of April. We won't hit that last weekend, but yeah, uh, It's Saturday and Sunday, and then there's one Friday that pops in there during spring break.
All right. So that's all for our show today. Embrace your power, support your community, and keep your fuzzy babies, your friends, your family, and yourself safe. And keep those people that have the LA fires into your minds and spirits and into our magic, as well as our first responders and anybody across our nation and around the world that really needs our help. Because you know what? With our magic, we need to start pulling together and making this a better world. And have an absolute magical week.